Here we go. Like I said, I'm Sam Straub. I am the owner of Teen Savvy Coaching, where I help parents of teens and tweens step into your parenting role with calm and confidence. Raising teenagers is hard work, and sometimes what used to work for us when our kids were in elementary school as parents stops working. Our tricks and tools that we had up our sleeve no longer do the same job that they used to. And so I help parents develop new communication tools, new strategies, new ways of understanding their kids so that they can maintain and or restore harmony, because we all know that the teen years sometimes brings with it additional chaos, concerns, worries, and sometimes a lack of harmony. But it doesn't have to be that way. And I love helping parents find their authentic voice as they meet the needs of their kids and show up as the parents they want to be. I do that through one-on-one coaching, and I do that through the Teen Savvy Parenting Masterclass, the doors for which are filling now for the end of August. If you'd like to learn more, you can check that out at teensavvycoaching.com. All right, today's video is all about parent language that we can use for our kids to start to develop neural pathways that will help them be better organizers or planners. A lot of teenagers struggle with this, and a lot of parents struggle with the fact that their kids struggle with this. So if you are the parent of a child who has trouble thinking ahead, has trouble getting their belongings organized or themselves organized in order to meet a future need, this is for you. Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk about is something called executive functions. These are tools that really distinguish adult thinking from kid thinking, and they're the tools that we need in order to make good decisions and regulate our lives. And during adolescence, those skills, which rest in the prefrontal cortex, are developing because the prefrontal cortex, the wiring for that is becoming thicker and more dependable. So while that is happening, there are ways that we can communicate with our kids to kind of urge those wires to get some action. Because maybe you've heard the phrase, neurons that fire together, wire together. Well, what that means is when we use a neural pathway, that pathway becomes easier to find the next time we need it. So if we can speak to our kids in ways that encourage them to use certain neural pathways, those pathways will get stronger faster. Now, those pathways are also developmentally dependent. So there's a sort of an age component to this. As kids get older, they're easier. It's easier for them to find the neural pathways in charge of executive functions. But there are things we can do to fast track that kind of development. So the first word I want to introduce, or the second one, I guess, executive functions was the first. The next concept is something called metacognition, and that's thinking about how we think. And teens aren't great at that because it involves stepping out of themselves and looking at how they're operating from a bird's eye view, like the blimp's view. And especially younger teens have trouble with this. As they age, kids get much, much better at this. But because they can't think about how they're thinking very well, younger teens and kids with any kind of executive functioning delay, ADHD is one of those, by the way, when we can model metacognition, when we can model thinking about our own thinking and engage with our kids in a way that encourages them to do that, we are engaging the neural pathways that they need to develop the skills of metacognition. And we need metacognition in order to plan, because we need to think, hey, what am I going to need on my vacation next week? How will I feel if I don't have it? And what do I need to do now in order to make sure that gets in my suitcase? So let's use that as our example. Let's say you're planning for a vacation and you are leaving on Tuesday and it's Saturday. You might narrate for your child, you know what, I'm going to be stressed if I wait until Monday to pack because I know I'm busy. I've got to go to work on Monday and that's only going to leave me the evening to take care of this. I'm going to get my suitcase largely packed on Sunday. I'm going to do my laundry on Saturday and I'm going to get my suitcase packed on Sunday so that I can reduce stress. And then, so that's narrating metacognition for your kid. You can take it one step further, and you have to do this with no snark and no suggestion and no judgment. You can say, what do you have going on Monday? Oh, that's right. You were going to go hang out with your friends at the pool. Well, when are you going to, how long do you think it's going to take you to pack? Are you going to have that much time on Monday if you sleep until the time you've been sleeping? Yeah, I'm not sure you will. You might need to pack on Sunday too. Would you like some help getting your laundry together today so that we can make sure that everything's clean for you to do so on Sunday? Now there are plenty of places where this could break down, plenty of places where kids could lose it. But on a best case scenario, that's a fast-tracked example of modeling metacognition and then prompting questions to get your child to start thinking about how they'll feel and how much time they'll have to get their packing done. And if they start to resist, you could say, well, how will you feel on Monday if one of two things happens? Either you go swimming and then you come back and you've only got, a few hours or not enough time to get your laundry done and your packing taken care of. And how will you feel if you're not allowed to go swimming with your friends on Monday because I know you're going to need that time, because that could be in the balance. And you ask them that, and then they say, okay, yeah, I really want to make sure I'm going to go. I'm going to do my packing now. It doesn't always go like this, but this is what I'm talking about when I say there's ways we can speak to our kids about how we're going to plan so that they develop the tools for that. A second thing that I think is that I want parents to remember is that something all kids need, and they all need a whole lot of things, but one of them that they need when they're encountering new situations, which is very frequent for teenagers, is something called anticipatory guidance. And kids who run anxious particularly need anticipatory guidance to feel calm. They need to know what's coming next. And so as you're planning for things, because you're able to do this, you can narrate what's coming next for your teen. And that can help them have some skin in the game too. So, hey, we're leaving on Tuesday at this time, which means we're going to have to get you up earlier than you usually have been getting up, which means you're going to be sleep deprived in the car when we hit the road on Tuesday morning. So I'm going to suggest that you do your best to get a good night's sleep on Monday or Sunday night into Monday, because you're not going to get a good night's sleep Monday into Tuesday. That's the kind of anticipatory guidance you can provide. Likewise, you could say, hey, when we're on vacation, something to remember is we're doing this activity for which you will need these clothes. Do you know where those are? Right? And you might, for kids who are really struggling with executive functioning, you might need to actually write some of this down in a list with a little checkbox next to it and give them a pen so that they can check it off. Those are for kids who are really struggling with executive function and kids with any kind of executive function delay. But essentially, while our kids are teenagers, we are lending them our prefrontal cortexes because ours are fully developed and theirs are not. And there's a whole lot of reasons, a whole lot of circumstances that make the prefrontal cortex easier or more difficult to use with teens. And that's some of what I go over in my coaching programs with parents. But this is one tool, helping with metacognition, providing anticipatory guidance, so that you can grow executive functions and ultimately help your kids develop the kind of organizational and planning tools that you're looking for them to have so that you can step back from always being the nag and they will start to be able to do this kind of stuff on their own. Will they be perfect at it? Absolutely not. Will they do it how you want them to? Probably not. But will they start to develop the tools with time and brain development and your influence? Yes, because neurons that fire together wire together. And when you can help your child engage the neurons necessary for them to develop the organizational skills, you're doing them a service and you're keeping things connected and hopefully a little more harmonious at home. All right, if you liked what you heard, you can sign up for more of these. You can go to www.teensavvycoaching.com. Right on my homepage is the opt-in to receive this video and others like it that I'm making all summer long. Thank you so much for tuning in and have an awesome day.